Yeah, lock.
Okay. We are good to go. Good.
It's about 2:38. We will call this meeting to order with the Water Consortium. First item on the agenda is the minutes. Everybody has a review of those minutes. To entertain the motion.
I have a question. First item says review and approve February 14 minutes. I think that must be February 4th.
Yes.
Any other adjustments?
Or wait, no, this was from the February 14th meeting, sorry.
But they had reviewed and approved the.
Oh, yep.
minutes.
I guess we should have put that on February 14, right? I mean, that's what we approved. February 14, February 1 minutes.
Yes.
Anything else to add? Subtract for the minutes? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes with the well, approved change. I would like to add something to the agenda that's not on the agenda. We don't have that on the agenda, but I think that we're still looking for our advisory board members. And I think that should have been added to our agenda with our citizens on board.
Under business item.
Sure. We can make that as D if you would like.
That makes sense. That brings up another question for me. Because I'm looking at this packet today, we've got budget committee consideration, but I thought we were still contemplating whether we had a budget or not. Whether we needed to go through the budget process.
So
Developments.
go. Go ahead.
So, the attorney thing,
Eileen.
so, we determined that the consortium doesn't fall under any statutes regarding local budget law. The attorney made the recommendation, though, to that chair cites that there be a budget process, and so I think the proposal was to model the process that's outlined for council of governments, and I don't remember the exact ORS reference, but it's in the draft fiscal agency agreement that's in it.
And I think jury's still out on whether. This would be a council of government, so I just,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not sure.
It's
that-
actually I ran that down with the Department of Revenue. They very clearly stated it wasn't, and that there was no applicable budget law. It was
Oh,
more
I'm glad you
a
got that.
recommend, yeah.
Okay.
It was more a recommendation just for good practice.
Okay.
From the attorney.
So to clarify, we're a what? We're just a IG
ORS 190 organization.
Organized under ORS 190. So I guess that there's the question of if we're going to have a budget or not. If it's best practices, it's my opinion that we should do it because it's not that much of a headache to actually get it completed and do it, and then we're under the under the peer review. I think it looks good as a public agency to have one anyway. Those are just my thoughts.
that was kind of the determination direction that I was given by the chair, was to proceed with the budget committee. We and the proposed budget schedule, we'd sent out an email previous 10 days or so ago, asking for some consideration for budget committee considerations. As we get down to that note, we had 3 returned, we'll need 4. And so this budget schedule does have a Zoom meeting next week if we wanted to look at these 3 and either adopt any of them or appoint any of them, or come back on the 15th with additional names to consider. So and just to address your advisory board members, one of the things, the other thing we need to do on an organizational level, talk down A, is to get the bylaws taken care of, which would outline the advisory board's scope. And so that's one reason why we didn't have that on here. We'll be getting the bylaws at one of our next meetings during the budget cycle, in order for us to flesh that out and be able to appoint those advisory board members. We're still waiting for the names from Oregon, which Dave and I were planning to go to tonight at their city council meeting and request those. Evidently, I'm going to be running solo now there, but still planning to attend there.
I think I talked to Aaron this morning. Is Aaron on? This. Do you have those names, Aaron?
Sorry, 1 second. Oops.
Did you want council?
I'm here, Valerie, I'm here. Yes, I have, and I,
There's the two
and
city members.
Aaron, sorry, we can't hear you.
Correct? Okay.
And then we have the right.
I know Aaron went to his board and got 3 suggestions, so. As he
can
gets
you
to
hear me
talk.
now?
So he's not muted.
Maybe it's on here.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. You probably need to turn up.
Aaron, we're having a hard time hearing you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Your mic is probably low.
Your speaker, yeah, because we can hear you on Zoom, Aaron.
Justin,
Make
Green,
sure.
can you talk and see if we can hear you?
He said,
Yep, I'm talking right now.
Hello, can you hear me, Justin?
Oh.
Canceling.
I can hear you, Aaron.
There we go.
There we go, Aaron.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's on their end. Anyway. Thanks, Justin. Lisa, do you have that copy?
I do.
If you want to read that off, that was sent, Matt, to you and Chair Sykes on 19 February. Council made a motion for that. It's there in front of her. Lisa has it on the 18th of February.
Can I read this, Aaron?
Go for it, ma'am.
Okay. MC Clean Water Consortium met on Tuesday, February 4th. Board requested Boardman and Oregon to provide 3 names from the county area around our city and the city manager to serve as advisory members to this new group. City council voted on Tuesday, February 18th to put the following names forward to the consortium board as advisory for the greater Oregon area. So Aaron Palmquist as city manager. And the names that they put forward are Debbie Rady, Gib Evans, Keith White, and Barb and Al Phillips. So those are the that were approved by city council for advisory, not for budget. Could you say Aaron, Keith White, Barbara and Al Phillips, Debbie Rady, Gib Evans? So good.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
so I think we have those. I would certainly like to get that done. I think it's important that those citizens get on the board before we move much farther forward.
And I guess I'd like to see the bylaws done before we do the budget. So I can.
Okay.
We got a lot of carts in front of horses and horses in front of carts.
Yeah, and bylaws is not on the agenda, but or is that something you're working?
Yes.
Okay.
So to adjust the agenda then for today, we could just go ahead with the fiscal agent agreement, scrap the budget schedule, or do we still want to go ahead with the schedule? Will the bylaws, when will the bylaws be done?
I could have a draft of the bylaws to you next week for consideration. There is some, there was a draft of proposed when we formed the CWC, but there's some modifications fleshing out this, the advisory committee. And also the managing director's roles that we're finishing up. So I literally, I could have that to the CWC board next week. And have that for consideration if they'd like.
We probably wouldn't get it approved in time
No.
before I mean, if we sent it out as a draft and everyone approved it, it would be way past any budget schedule that we had.
I don't know that we have a budget schedule though.
So
I
I thought
mean,
we did.
If we're not following that process, we don't have to advertise and have 2 meetings and then come back for a 3rd meeting and approve, which time in between for advertising. We can schedule 2 budget meetings or 1 budget meeting in June. Whatever we want to do.
I think it depends on what the board wants to adopt for a process.
Right.
But
Which,
absent any applicable statutes for the local budget law,
right,
there's no requirement that there's one adopted by
Mhm.
June 30th.
you could follow our calendar year, not a fiscal year. Not a pictures to. And we're all
districts.
fiscal year
Well,
people.
yeah. Well, I guess we could. So there's 2 processes, is that correct? I mean, there's one for governing bodies and there's one just a regular, and we're just trying to figure out the regular one, right? And it doesn't require a meeting schedule and hearings and those type of things?
So the recommendation from legal counsel was to go ahead and follow that process of having a budget committee following the 2 weeks notice for the.
So
for
the whole process.
Yes. Just to be transparent to cover bases.
I'm okay with that, I guess. A
It's
lot
a
more,
timing issue.
there is a timing issue.
It's possible if we get that done.
Yeah, so we do have a budget schedule discussed here. It's lined out. Our first, the budget meeting would be projected for May 13th. With notice going out on April 30th. And if we'd like to see the bylaws reviewed and adopted before then. I think that's possible. We send that out, let that be reviewed and considered in a Zoom meeting in the next week, 10 days before we send out.
I'm okay with that, Lisa. Busy's your schedule.
Said it was May 13th.
May 13th.
On vacation. I guess what I would like is I would like the board to talk to Eileen and get this discussion with her, because I don't see why we have to follow this process if she's already told us we didn't have to follow the process.
But advised us that it would be better to follow the process. Right?
Good.
I don't want to speak for Eileen,
Yeah.
but
She was not available to come today, so we did invite her. But yeah.
I think that there's probably flexibility in, you know, if the board wanted to still ultimately adopt that process, but maybe for the first budget adoption, and forget about the 30th adoption deadline date. So it's typical with local budget law, so I think there's probably the flexibility there, but I would probably justify comment on that.
I mean, I think it's important to have a process. I don't know that we have to have that process. Because we're not required by law to have that process. So what would it be? Meetings? Or with the constraints of advertising and anything for the so many days from this.
I think that's part of the intent is to be as transparent. That's, I haven't talked with this savvy Irene, but you two have, and highly respect her, but I like the idea of transparency. Just because there's a lot of people interested. I haven't calendared that out because I just haven't. done that.
But we have these meetings are open to the public. So the minutes of these meetings are open to the public. The next meeting is advertised to the public.
It is.
The next cycle was the budget meetings as we were going through. We have another one of these in 2 months. So,
Did we just?
or sooner as needed by the board.
Motion, do we want to vote on it? What do we want to do?
I'm looking for some direction because it's not my expertise.
If I could propose a meeting via Zoom for next week, I can see if Eileen can come on and address the issue of the budget. And then I can work to have a draft of the bylaws, a preliminary draft to send out to y'all so you can take a look at that and get a read on it. If we don't look at that, we don't need the budget committee. We just can do that as a board. And so those 2 items could be tabled for future consideration. Or as necessary.
Right, so we don't have budget. Do you have budget committee recommendations?
No, it was supposed to be us, supposed to be from the county and from the board.
Very sentently. Well, since we don't actually have a specific project right now, is it urgent that your idea was that we convene the budget committee just a little bit later rather than wrapping it up?
Well, if we're not constrained to the June 30th deadline, because you technically don't need it in your first year of organization. We're just looking to get on track.
Okay.
And so we do have some leniency on when we were to tie this in. So even if we had to go with a full budget committee and the 2 meeting with 2 weeks notice on each of them, we set it up to be ready for June 30th, but we don't necessarily have to.
So do we want to table those 2 items for now? Wait for a Zoom meeting next week?
PNC. The budget schedule and the budget committee.
Yes.
Or could we go ahead with the budget committee?
If you don't need it, why appoint them?
Why not just let our advisory committee sit in the budget process?
Because your advisory committee is larger than the budget committee is necessary, but I don't think that's too big of an issue.
We don't have any constraints on budget committee though. I mean, we got no laws to follow in for budget committee.
Unless we go with her recommendation, then we do. So we're kind of waiting on the
No, we
recommendation.
don't really. I mean, it's a recommendation that to follow a process. And she's recommending this process, even though we're not. She's made it clear by law, we're not required to follow this process. Am I understanding that right?
Department of Revenue made it clear, she initially thought that it was subject to budget law after I discussed it, but she came to the same conclusion that shared with all the stuff, that obviously the Department of Revenue. So our conclusion was, I don't want to speak for her, but I do have a positive discussion.
Can you share all of that with us? The
The
Department of Revenue.
Communications.
I thought perhaps I'll send it to Chair Sykes and Matt. I could certainly share it with the board. No, it's not a problem at all. Can I do that following this meeting?
Would it be possible to spend a little money and get like a formal written legal opinion as to?
I have no problem with that. If she can't appear, have her prepare a letter, so we can review that.
Should probably do it pretty quickly.
Mhm.
I mean, if you had a public agency and a private attorney recommending it, and I don't know why we'd want to cut a corner, and, I don't. We don't have a project to act on it now, so I'd rather slow it down and do that, unless there's something else that we need to. Post haste.
I just think this board should be talking about it. Instead of the county just deciding what it is. That's what I think.
Of course.
About, well, the budget is the budget, projects that we vote to fund.
Right.
That's the advisory committee making a recommendation to us.
Right. I don't mean to be a pain, but this committee is the one that is the body that would be doing the budget, and we should be hearing from. We should be having that conversation with the attorney and deciding.
Yeah.
At this group, whether. It's a very formal process, as y'all know, and it takes time.
I can work and reach out to Eileen after this meeting, see when she's available next week for that.
Okay, so help me out here. We're back to the business items. We're gonna continue with A. And B, we're just gonna try to do a Zoom meeting sometime, is that
We can stretch.
stretch B2 for now, and after the conversation with Eileen?
I would assume we could scratch C as well. Until we have the constraints of what budget process we want to pursue.
We have A and D left. Anything else that anybody wants to add or? The budget or the agenda? All right, hearing none, let's go on with business item A, fiscal agent agreement with Morrow County, given by Matt Jensen.
So in the packet, we have the fiscal agent attached. Fiscal agent agreement is here. And this was crafted by our attorney Eileen, who then prepared the document, sent it over for review by the county's council and Kevin Ince, who will be acting as or coordinating the fiscal agent side of it for the county. We had some clarifications on bonds and such that were answered sufficiently, and we're bringing this to the board for review and approval. Generally, what this sets up is the consortium will adopt the annual budget, and as you can see on responsibilities under 4, they will, as far as the specifics, we adopt the budget, prepare the budget, adopt the budget, carry out all the duties, and process the invoices through the county. The county on this side will receive the funds, ensure the funds that are counted separately. They'll hold the funds for that, manage the funds with, and only dispersing funds is directed by the consortium's board of directors. Now, in that, there's an approval level of a certain amount of spending that I'm allowed to do that will be captured in the bylaws. And so if the board adopts those bylaws, that will be the direction that's given on that. So not saying you'll receive all the little invoices, but we'll also have an accounting of those on a monthly basis. The fiscal agent will also manage the grants agreements and provide written accounting of the funds as necessary. And the county already has liability insurance and such that's in place. And Kevin made sure that we had number 9 and 10 in there to support consortium for budget preparation on as we go through it. The rest of it, this is either party can terminate it with 60 days notice. And we have it so because of the dual nature of the county being fiscal agent as well as a member of the Clean Water Consortium, it was suggested that we have all parties of each board sign on this because Dave's on both of those. And so that's why on the signature page, it shows the 3 commissioners and the 4 members of the Clean Water Consortium Board. No costs are incurred to the Clean Water Consortium on this. This is taken as a partnership between the county and the CWC.
So I guess my question is, you're accounting for this budget within your budget?
No. We set up a fiduciary fund. And I can put a budget in that particular fund, but it's not governmental funds, so it wouldn't be part of the county. So we do it frequently where we'll hold funds for special district or just another private or public entity that does not deposit in the county treasurer. And those are referred to a fiduciary fund where we're just acting as a fiduciary. And so they're not budgeted for in our county budget. Oh my goodness. That was a suicidal bird.
All the time.
So they're not, it's not included. in
Lisa
the-
doesn't even flinch.
It's not included in the county budget.
Okay,
But it would exist in a separate fiduciary fund, that the county is just managing under this fiscal agency agreement, and then in our accounting system. Set up that budget, within that fund. Whatever that process.
so we'll have our own bank account.
No, the money, the cash would be commingled with, county funds and other district funds as well. It's a separate fund in our county. That makes sense. Just like all the other,
There's lots and lots of
cash
funds.
that the
There's-
county has.
Okay. That's very different than what we do.
Can I ask a question? I might have picked up on something you said, but is all this work with your attorneys and, putting all this together and all these documents and all of your time and everything, is that part of the county's budget, or are you having to bill back this consortium?
So the billable expenses for the consortium includes the legal counsel. My duties as managing director is part of the agreement with the county. There's no cost to the consortium, no bill back for that time, nor bill back time for Valerie's or Kevin's time at this point. That allows, so if we grow this to a good thing, we can separate and we can pay a director, and then that will be an ongoing expense. Right now, we just want to get it set up, and like you said, it's a little delicate dance that we have to do, but we want to get it set up so it can be a continuing impact for our
For
community.
the legal counsel that you're talking about?
Legal counsel is contracted separately, is separate from the county council, and she's really actually quite good. Gives-
And is county paying that, or is the consortium?
It's the consortium.
So I
Right now,
guess-
that's the only
So out of
expense
pocket
we
stuff.
have.
Mhm.
is this attorney.
And, we'll have some consultants and others that will be getting online very shortly. We're just waiting to get things set up, and so those will be costs from the consortium based on the revenues. that
If
we
you've
have.
got a bunch of grants and administering all those grants, that's quite a bit
A
of
lot of work.
somebody's time.
Yes,
Isn't that work?
And
and
that's a donation.
that's a donation at this time.
He's happy to
You're smiling.
That's a Cheshire grin if I've ever seen one.
Lisa, did I answer your questions? Good enough of the fund within the where the cash was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so from an accounting perspective, cash is segregated, but the county, we pool all of our cash so that we can manage in and out of their investment pool and work more efficiently. So, right, on the books.
Similar to the signal board and trust funds.
Exactly.
Well, so
Do we have any obligation, Lisa, as the court, to have our attorney go through this?
We will, yes.
Yes.
And I just, I would guess under 4A1. I think that we should say that we will adopt it in the budget. Rather
Yeah, I
than
was
not.
actually gonna make that note, because it does reference the RS 294-900 through 9.5, which is the section that was recommended for budget law, so.
So do we need to change that? Or just follow it out?
I think we need to take out the second half of that sentence. Because really our bylaws. The document that tells us what we do.
So are you thinking
Not
just
into the fiscal agents.
striking the,
And substantial components of the budget procedures for COGS.
okay, so adopt an annual budget and timely provide a copy of the adopted budget to the county? Is that how you,
That's fine, I mean.
We're just deleting as described in ORS 294 to 294 to 294-925. We're just eliminating that sentence or that fragment.
It would be from in substantial compliance with the budget, this would strike after the word budget.
through the comma for and timely on the next one?
Right.
Could I have a motion for that? I mean, so we get it on.
So a motion to amend the fiscal agent agreement,
Yes.
or here, any motion to amend that?
I'll make a motion to amend, fiscal agent agreement, section 4A1 as noted. So the one with the adopting an annual budget and timely providing a copy of the budget to council.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. To, because we're not really adopting this yet, we are just amending it.
Mhm.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend the fiscal agent agreement with the changes, that were so motioned.
And then you
Yeah.
could review it, I don't know, you could make a motion to adopt after the next meeting. possibly.
All right, well, let's take a look, do you want to amend your motion or do you want to?
No, no,
Okay,
oh,
so,
we're just amending the document, not
Right.
A
voting.
vote
on
for
it.
the amendment.
right,
Vote
yeah,
for the amendment, yes,
Okay.
sorry.
So we
So
can
all
just
those-
have that in the book.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Guess there's nobody else here, so. Okay. So now, skipping B and C, going to D, which was, the advisory committee appointment.
Chair, do we want to take any further action on the fiscal agent as far as approving it, or? Do we want to?
That's why I was asking
Sorry.
Lisa, she felt like she wanted.
I don't think I. Unless you think it needs to go back to our board, I think it's
To our board or to our council?
fine. Our
Council be okay with it? Our council.
It's a benign agreement.
Okay,
It's,
okay. I'm good if you're good. So do we want to go ahead and approve the fiscal agent agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal agent agreement. As amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Chair, can I ask a question? On C, the budget committee considerations, I know I contacted 3 people. And said somebody will follow up and let you know, so I don't like to just leave people hanging. So how could I message back to them? we're not quite ready to make budget committee appointments.
We'll know next week, right?
If you, yeah, if I could just make, if you'd like to touch base with them, just say, we're still defining the budget process. Appreciate your interest. We'll be in touch next week.
Okay, I'll do that, thank you.
We need to find a few people.
How many names do you have?
Uh,
And how
so
many people do we want? How many committee members do you think are ideal?
it all depends on, the process that's adopted. If
Sure.
we do the one, do it according to the suggestion, we need 4. If we, don't follow that direction, it can just be this board, and you don't need budget committee members.
Okay.
It's one committee member per board member. If I remember right, reading the rules, right?
That's,
I would suggest that we have our conversation about advisory board members and then come back to budget committee. Cause I just don't know why we can't be the same people.
Oh, advisory committee is, I see what you're talking, is that what you were saying earlier and I didn't get it? Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm probably not very clear.
I'm glad I know now, so, okay.
So do we have, okay. So we're now on D, the
Mhm.
advisory committee, and we have 4 names submitted by Jurgen. And Matt, do you have your 4 names, the 3 names? Brandon, did I say Matt? I looked right, it's in Matt.
and, he did, and we have Mike Lees as a representative from the city of Boardman. He's their city engineer and would have a good read on water impacts there.
Is Mike a Boardman or Morrow County citizen? No. And that's,
So he is our rep, just like Aaron.
give it, Evans, is he in Morrow County in
Yes.
Arizona?
Yeah.
Bart Phillips, she's in Oregon, I know, Keith White, is he in Oregon?
Yes, outside town, all those so far on exhibit.
And,
posts.
okay,
And then they did present 3 candidates for the advisory council. Zahira Guzman, Myra Cullen, and Anna Marie Rodriguez.
Sarah Guzman, what was the second one?
Myra Cullen, Colin, and Anna Marie Rodriguez.
And those are from Boardman.
Yes.
They're all in.
Boardman, Greater Boardman, 97818. Yes.
all right, and we are picking 2, correctly?
2 from each region, is that what we're doing?
Is it 2 from each or just 2?
So this is
Because Brandon and Aaron are on the advisory committee.
Right,
I see, okay.
I mean,
So this would
I
be
could,
a city official plus 1.
is that way that I'm struggling to remember, but I'm
Well,
pretty
in-
sure it was just 2 citizen members, right?
That's what I remember, but
we,
then,
we asked each city manager to come back with names to appoint to other advisory committee.
and did we also,
And we
appoint
said to,
each
but
city
there's no
manager?
reason we couldn't make that for.
and then did we also appoint the respective city managers? As on being on the-
We did that.
We did
First,
that.
we
at
did
our
that
first
last
meeting.
time.
Okay.
So
Oh,
do we want to go with 2?
Aaron has his hand raised.
Go ahead, Aaron. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm unmuting. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Here's my understanding is that it was, the first thing I want to point out is advisories are just for when you need technical support. You all 6 of you are to be making that decision as the committee. When you need technical support, as an example, if it's something that's going to be around Boardman, we over in Oregon might not need to be at the table. That's one thing. Names were supposed to come forward, 3 plus 1, that would represent the city, whether it's a city manager, boardman has chosen to put forward their engineer in place of the city manager. That's my understanding of it, so that then there are names and you get to make that, who's going to be on your advisory, which is really technical when you have issues that you need to broaden your scope. And that is hence why at the last meeting when we were there, when I was there, there's been 2 meetings or at least one since then, is that to put Justin Green on there, who not only is part of the H2O, but he's also been with DEQ, a great advisor that has some breadth and depth there. That's why Justin was immediately put on to be an advisor. So that gives you the broad. Hopefully that helps. Can you hear me on that, Kelly? Hopefully that gives.
Yes, I think what we're working on now is the citizen part of the advisory group. And we were trying to remember if we were going to appoint one from each city. And I believe that's what I recall.
Me too.
Okay.
And I thought it was city managers, so I apologize for that. I would prefer it be city managers.
Yeah, my understanding was the city manager, but then somebody out in the county at large.
Correct.
To put one, but then you were going to select, but we were to give at least 3 names forward.
Well, I think we already appointed.
And Aaron, I think part of the reason for that is we think both of you city managers can provide help to this board for every decision that we're making. Not just to your
Technical.
respective city.
Yeah. It's not gonna be technical so much as it's gonna be what the city wants to do or can do.
It
Correct.
doesn't mean at all that we can't have technical support from
Yeah.
Justin and Mike and
But yeah,
and whoever else is out there.
and we've already appointed everyone else but the 2 citizens. We would
That
have
is
to make
correct.
a requirement.
And if you want, we could decide to pick 4 citizens instead of citizens.
And do we expect that? I don't see anything written
I
about.
mean, I
our
think it's great that we have this much interest.
I don't see anything written about the expectations of the advisory committee. Did I miss something?
So the advisory committee is formed under the bylaws. We have
Oh,
the
okay,
draft bylaws, but we don't have that ready to adopt.
okay.
And so that's one of the catch-22 signs.
It is, yeah.
The original bylaws said board members may also elect to form an advisory board made up of 5 independent members who are external advisors appointed for the knowledge and direct experience in the consortium's mission. The advisory board members will provide non-binding strategic advice to the board. During that discussion on the organizational meeting, it was 1 member from each city, and then they talked about having 3 candidates from the community. And the idea that was possibly that H2OEO was the 5th member. We had a city representative, and then out of the 3, the board would choose 1 to be the citizen. So we have 2 citizens, 2 cities, and then the H2OEO.
We put H2O on the.
Yes.
advisory
Yes, we
already.
did. And
That's-
and the 2 city
That's
managers.
you or that's Justin.
Although it was a city representative was what I recalled on it, so.
But not city, sorry,
County
not city
representative.
proper in the
Well,
box, but
a
greater.
a city
region.
representative to
Represent the
relay
city.
the connections to the city.
Yeah.
But then a greater city area,
Mhm.
specifically people outside in the
Mhm.
Wigwama
Mhm.
unincorporated area.
Chair, I'll just share that, I'm with Lisa, I'm pleased that there's that level of interest and, there is no doubt that we institutionally have struggled getting direct citizen involvement in a lot of this. The folks who do this sort of work as their day job have been involved, but folks who don't, but are impacted, it's been difficult to get their input on anything to do with the nitrate issue. So, since Matt is still, sprucing up the bylaws, maybe we could expand that so we could appoint additional committee.
I love the idea. I've
Me
been advocating for citizens for a long time, so I'm all for that. If we would like to,
What's the number?
so it'd
Up to
be
3 for each community? we have, three from the Boardman area. We have more than three,
Yeah, because especially if we have our meetings during the day, if we don't change those meetings to evenings, we are going to have trouble getting them here. So that was another suggestion that
Mhm.
we need to start thinking about. The more community involvement we get, maybe switch these meetings to evenings so that they actually can attend.
I think so.
So I'm all for 3. We've got plenty on each side, so if everyone's in agreement. Do you want to change that? Do I want to hear a motion?
And that would be to add to the bylaws.
Mhm.
Sure, I'd make a motion that for the advisory committee, in addition to the 3 that are appointed, one formal person representing the city proper, city of Oregon, city of Boardman, also one representing H2OEO, and then also inviting 3 from the greater Oregon area and 3 from the greater Boardman area, with the emphasis on folks who don't currently live inside the city limits.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to change the bylaws to accept 3 citizens from Oregon and the Boardman unincorporated areas of the Lugoma. All those in favor say aye.
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 Just to clarify, that was to add the structural definition to the bylaws, but we haven't actually appointed people.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I'm tracking. Got it.
So now do we want to go ahead and appoint those people? Do I hear any?
Aaron Palmquist,
Yes, ma'am.
have you reached out to all of your people and they've all acknowledged that they're willing to serve?
Initially, they said that, but that was back in February, so. So my recommendation would be give us some time if we're gonna do that around who we have, get the bylaws fixed, because it sounds like Matt has put a short fuse around his neck to get stuff done in the next couple weeks. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, but we do have a draft that's, we're just tweaking, so it's not a full build, so.
Oh, okay, but I would recommend you do the bylaws first so that everybody's looking at, not just, they're looking at hard document. That's just my recommendation. And then let us call these people again, because that's almost 2 months ago?
Yes.
And so may I ask the same question of Boardman? They've been vetted and they're good to go. So for the record, Brandon did his homework.
So, what? I wouldn't say Aaron didn't do his homework, it's just been, he needs to review the draft. One question is, Boardman's gave 3 candidates. Aaron overachieved and actually gave 5. And so there would have to be a consideration on that if we're only doing 3 members from each community area.
The other comment that I have to make is Isabel Gonzalez that attended our meeting February 14th is very interested. Isabel Gonzalez. Parents
Is that-
who grew up in West Glen.
Is that
Very,
Anne Marie?
No,
Or-
Anna Marie's
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. She's actually one of that has the EQ well that's been tested for the 30 years. She's
For the test work.
yeah, she's one of the test fellows.
Mm.
And Myra Pauline does she work for the city now too? No? And Ziara Goosen, I don't know. School district. So we'd have to have meetings
At 4 o'clock.
at least by,
Mhm.
I do think
I think that makes a lot of
evening
sense.
minute
Mhm.
meetings are gonna have to happen. Anyway, well, I'm gonna go against Aaron and I'm gonna say we have these citizens ready and pretty much willing to go, and if we elect someone that doesn't want to be there, that we go back and reappoint someone else, but get it done today.
I could support that, Kelly. I just go for it.
And we're gonna do 3, not 4.
We're gonna do 3 on each. That was what we amended, right?
So it's easy with I support that as well.
So let's do
Ordinance
Boardman
easy.
first.
Let's do Boardman first.
That's the easy one.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to accept citizen appointments to the advisory committee.
As presented by the city of Boardman.
Sure.
Sure. So I make that motion. And do you want me to name them? Zadira Guzman, Myra Colleen or Colin, and Anna Marie Rodriguez.
Then move, do we hear a second?
Second. I'd really like to see Isabel involved. She is ready.
Is she retired? Can she come to meetings? Okay, well, let's just invite.
She's not retired.
Okay, okay,
She's a young person.
okay, okay. We could make it, well, I made that motion, so we need to vote on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Otherwise, we need to go back and make a motion to add 4 persons for each community. And we can do that. I mean. Reason.
up to you guys. Tell me which direction you want me to take this. We have a motion on the floor. Do you want to withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw the motion and then go back to the bylaws. So are you tracking that, Matt? With Lisa's addition, looks like it's gonna be 4 from each community, not 3.
So would you like to rescind the previous motion?
Go
Or
ahead.
reconsider?
You
the-
voted on it.
You can a motion to reconsider. The
Changes to the bylaws.
Sure.
Okay, so we are going to reconsider the bylaw changes. Tamara has withdrawn her motion. Do I hear a motion, Tamara, to what, to add the 4?
Yes, so moved, which would be to add, to the bylaws, the advisory committee would be comprised of 1 representative of each city, a representative of H2O, EO, and then 4 community members.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. We adjust the bylaws to include 4 representatives instead of the 3 that was previously voted on. Can I call for a vote? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
What was the 4th? Oh. Oh, so now we need to name the specific people on board.
Yeah, and one of them was a husband and wife, right? Barb and,
for Irrigan,
yeah.
Did we just vote on the 4 for board name?
yes.
What was the 4th name? I didn't write that down.
Isabel Gonzalez. Okay.
Well, yeah, I guess we should go back and vote on that.
Yeah, because I didn't think we voted. on
Okay,
it.
so let's go back and vote on the 4 people that will make up the Citizen Advisory Board for Boardman and Isabella, I think the last name. Gonzalez. So we have Zahira Guzman, Ana Marie Rodriguez, Myra Colleen, and Isabella Gonzalez.
So moved.
And moved and seconded, seconded, you want to
Yes.
second it?
Yes,
Seconded
second.
by Lisa. Do I hear a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Confusing myself.
Can we talk about the Irrigan group? So 1 was husband, wife. It's not the 1850s, so we probably need to pick one or the other. I do know that Al develops a lot of property and understands property development and infrastructure. And he's kind of sort of retired, but still doing some development, so. I think he might have a little bit more flexibility and technical insight than Barb.
Aaron shaking his head.
The brains behind it all is Barb. And Al's not gonna be around the full time that you would probably need him. He takes off probably about 4 or 5 months out of the year. And Barb knows more than he does, to be honest. She keeps everything in straight. She knows where things are at and how it processes. So if you're gonna pick one of the 2, I'd go with Barb.
Can I entertain a motion of the 4 recommendations for the city of Irrigan?
Well, I'll make a motion. It's Keith White, Debbie Rady, Gib Evans, and I guess Barb Phillips.
Is there a
And
sec-
I like them both. I mean, there's nothing, they're both.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Debbie Rady, Gib Evans, Barb Phillips, and Keith White to the advisory board. We have a vote.
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed aren't here. We don't get to vote. Okay, got that part. Let's down to other business, unless there's any other business items.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
We could mention in our bylaws that we will from time to time have technical advisors coming, because it could easily be Mike Lee's from the city or the construction team from the port.
Or
Okay.
the solutions guys,
Ronan.
Ronan and them.
GSI.
So yeah, I think,
Yep.
I think we're gonna have all
We're
that
gonna need them.
technical assistance,
I think once we get
paid
the
or unpaid, I
bylaws,
don't know which one it's gonna be, but
I think Matt was kind of working on contracting with some extra technical folks too.
is there something you just wanted to say
Just-
that?
just
Okay,
wanted
good.
to get out there. Yep.
All right,
And then are you gonna, who's gonna follow up with those folks and say you're by appointed?
Well, I'll be reaching out to both city managers as they presented it and trying to get contact information, phone numbers, email, so we can let them know when and when. So we'll take care of that, either myself or Valerie will.
okay, other business, Herrera Park, and this is something that I put on the agenda, and Herrera Park is a small, well user as far as, their category goes. They're in the city limits of Boardman. They contacted our water group, back in 2022 when their nitrate level was 9.7 or something like that. Extremely concerned that they were gonna go over and they would have to either shut down the well or spend, big time money, 50,000-60,000 to clean that water or hook to the city. I thought it's 7 residences. I tried to find it. Lisa helped me out because I was going off the well log, which said that it was here. And that was an old address of the owner of the well, but the complex is someplace else, and Lisa knows where that's
I
at.
texted Brenda last night to find out.
Okay.
And we had a conversation this morning, Brenda, you want to talk about that? Okay.
Yeah, it's over by off of Baylor Road, next to Maple Crest Apartments. The gentleman is a landowner. He's already approached the city and wanting to hook it up. There are specific fees, STC fees that are just what we do for every person who wants to hook up to the city. Water's available, just process just like everyone.
So, so are they looking for money to pay the SDCs? Are they looking for? Okay, okay. And they would, what would they do with their existing well? Cause if Ronan were here, he'd probably have an idea, cause we're looking for wells to test for the roadmap project, and it could be one of those wells. Do you have any idea how deep it is?
No, but I can give you the well log number I have on my phone.
Because, before you have them formally abandon it.
I don't know.
There might be some value in using that, for research purposes or maybe future purposes. And is there a water right attached to it? There's only 4 users.
It's a small.
It's not exempt, but it's a small system.
Yeah, it's actually categorized as a small system, so there's probably a water right to it, I would
Okay.
assume. I'm not positive on that either. I don't know what the rules are. We need those technical guys.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
right.
But he was just looking for some help. He said, otherwise he's, they could shut him down. And that goes 7 housing units in Boardman out the door. And he wasn't looking for full funding. I think when they first talked, at least on the well report log, when the state came out and contacted him, it said 20,000, and then you said 21,000 to me the other day. So he's looking for some funding to help him keep those businesses, those residents in their homes, because if he's shut down, he's shut down. And who would shut him down? The state, as soon as his nitrates level went over, or he has to clean it somehow.
So if it's a community well, that's a pretty protracted process to shut people off from water.
When it's
It
over
goes
the
to
limit,
the
then
water
that's what they, you either have to clean it, I mean, you can
You
ask
have
the
to
city
treat
to treat it, which is going to be, probably hundreds of thousands just for 7 homes. Or he could just hook up for that amount of money, and I don't know if he's, willing to abandon as well, or if you even have to. Or, that's not up to us necessarily, that's somebody else's.
I guess, Brandon, your jurisdiction, do you require people to shut down their wells? I don't know of any
Because we
cases
have-
that's happened inside the city limits.
There's another
Here.
well over on
I think there's several.
Yeah, there's some wells, but they're irrigation wells, not.
Correct, and yeah.
Mhm.
shut down.
And this could be, I don't know how, did you say it's an apartment? I don't know if they could still use it for
Yeah.
irrigation or not.
He has 6 units. And duplex.
So are they, housing units, or is it an apartment? Is there a lot of landscape that would need to be watered, or?
Trailers, it's that
And,
little
yeah.
corner right across from Maple Crest behind Wilson Road to the corner. It's that little.
You think it's
corner.
probably attached to Wilson Road, but there's that fence back
You
there,
think
right?
it's attached, but it's
Okay,
not. Yep,
okay, I know where it's
not.
at.
There's a little brick duplex. I mean, he's a landlord, I mean,
He's making.
he's making.
Yeah.
He's,
I get that,
I will say, Aaron and I had this conversation, I don't know if Aaron's still on the phone. Aaron and I had this conversation, and he said, if they were in a situation where it was a bad water issue, they would do something to waive some SDCs.
are you listening?
I mean, we can't waive the SDC fees, it's not a one, we've already looked at doing that, it's, if we lower the SDC fee, it's for anyone, not just for.
So tell me this, after they get the water hookup, what's the
Just the-
cost to each of those households to make that connection?
That's all up to him, so it would just be him, so we would take it to them, and then they would connect it, and then it's just on. The water charges.
I mean, he's a landlord, it's his responsibility to make sure that his
Correct.
tenants have good water. That's my thought, but if we could go convince the city to give them a break because they got bad water, I mean, you can't have any other situations like
Well,
this, right?
Well, we
Bill
do,
Sierra.
there might be, so Bill Goss with the drinking water division. He inspects most of these, at least on paper, if not physically every year. I'll just say that conceptually, I like the idea of helping them, because that's. 7 or 8 fewer residences that are relying on a high nitrate well, but I'd like to do a little bit more research or have somebody, so Bill Goss is the person, he has come to Lebanon meetings, that's.
It's either him or Amy that does it.
Oh, okay, and there
And
are
then-
also state programs to fund improvements of.
The small municipals.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna be, not gonna be a municipal though, they're gonna be
But-
small.
There's a community system. There's a small and a large is like 25, so this is under that, so it's
Yeah.
probably small. It's not
You're
my
training.
direct bailiwick, but I think Bill Gus could help navigate what that is, and he may have. Some incentives, he also, clean water revolving loan fund, they might be a candidate, so maybe this landlord could apply for some of those funds. Which would help him retrofit. Whatever infrastructure he needs to get his tenants good water. Sounds like, I don't know who would do the legwork on that.
I know, I'm just
Um,
throwing it out there, I just felt
I
sorry
think the
for him.
landlord should do the legwork.
Yeah.
I'm a landlord, I think they have a responsibility as a landlord, it's a business.
But it's also,
That's-
again, it's
that's
the
my
same,
opinion.
it's the same identical thing that all of these people out in the country are saying too, is the same thing, it's like. Here we are. They didn't contaminate their well, and now they're forced to have all of these fees when it'd be so easy for this group to spend a little bit of money and fix it, just
One challenge just to point out is that
I
the
know it's
IGA is
unincorporated areas.
unincorporated.
So there is that, maybe Present, maybe, I don't know. I just think that it's 7 homes that if he gets closed down, in which, you know, you can't provide people non-clean drinking water on any system, so
At what point is it non-clean?
Well, it's still, it exceeds the state standard, but it's below the federal
yeah,
standard.
it's above the state right now.
So
So-
it's between 8 and 10. and
Yeah,
that-
it's,
That
It-
unfortunate
it-
Goldilocks
it's
zone.
been as high as 9.
Okay. It's in the city limits.
It's been as
And
high as
Brendan, he's been to you
9.8.
and you've offered to finance the full hookup.
We're gonna do a payment plan.
Ooh, nice. Is he not receptive to that?
It just. I don't know what it's gonna cost for the whole entire thing, to get all of those places. I mean, they've all gotta have,
Well, they should, if they're sharing a well, the piping should be in place. It's like buying a new roof.
I would say that, except for it's, you know, again, it's not their fault that they have to do all this. And this is what this consortium I thought was meant to do, but like Matt says, and I thought about that when I brought it up, but I thought, well, maybe it's, you know,
I'm kind of thinking at one point this was outside the city limits.
Maybe. I mean, it'd be. I don't know.
Right,
A long time ago.
I can, I think that it's also like the advisory committee, you know, if they're aware of something like this, they might have resources or people to reach out to or be willing to spend some time to help him. It might not be just him, it might be somebody else, Matt, right, that's looking for, where could I go get a loan or to get support or apply for a grant or find these other financial resources, and so it seems like that might be something maybe else. If it's not in part of this, it's still awareness or support people in the community. They're trying to figure out the solution.
so what it says is this water system is located within the city limits of Boardman. At this time, they are classified as an OVS system with annual chloroform and nitrate sampling requirements. The system has spoken to the city on cost to tie the city water in, and they were quoted at 20K. The nitrate results. This is their. In 2023. Are increasing. Where did it go?
So while you're looking at that, Kelly, could I do an introduction, Brandon, between you and Bill Goss? Because I think,
I know.
oh, you know him?
Yeah, we've gone to them.
Okay, I think he would be a really good resource to see if there's funding available and what that looks like. And if it's a portion of it, and maybe we can make up the difference.
Amy Ward is actually the DWP.
Oh, okay,
She's in the office with Bill.
okay. Amy Ward, okay.
Mhm.
And also DWP.
Department of Water. Something.
Drinking water protection?
Yeah.
Looks like Aaron's got his hand raised again.
Go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead, Aaron.
It won't unmute. Since I'm the old guy, Brandon's new, Bill Goss cannot help here. Here's why. That property is inside the city limits, and they would be looking at the city of Boardman or Oregon municipal system. So you got to be creative on how you're going to get to yes on something else. Because small water and all that, no, it's a municipal system. He's in the city limits. Is that correct, Brandon? That park?
Yeah.
Yeah, Goss would look at the whole system. That's a state requirement, whether it's water or sewer. Ouch.
Anyway, I just threw that out there. I just wanted to toss it out and see if anybody had good ideas or how we can touch base with him and keep 7 people.
I would
in
recommend
Boardman.
that he go to the city of Boardman and finance 20 grand and make improvements to his rental properties. That's what I would
Could they
advise.
pursue a CDBG grant? Are they
I mean, it is.
income sensitive?
We're basically, that's what we're doing.
That sounds like you went above and beyond, actually. You did.
So, and please understand, like, this is for any development. We're not, we do not choose favorites. This is just the fees that people have to do. There has been an instant where they were waived. Typically, they're not waived or have a payment. Typically, it's like, you want to do it, well, there's the fee. But there was a time they did it. So like, great, that is a way that we can help them out. But again, this is someone who's making money
Uh-huh. Mhm. That makes sense.
and doing a business.
What kind of payment, that 20 years?
I can,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, and I appreciate that once you waive one SDC, it's a slippery slope. You just,
And you can't, you legally cannot move justice.
okay, that makes even more sense. Okay, well, I appreciate that you brought this up, Kelly. I think a message back to them, if we would technically have to change our bylaws if we were to help fund them. Or we could,
The IGA,
the IGA, not the
the IGA
bylaws, right?
specifically says on.
And so it's kind of a technicality. We could do that, though. I'd like to see some numbers rather than you reporting on their behalf, and I totally trust that you understand it. They just have to advocate a little bit more on their own.
Well, they have in our water committee group. That's where
Okay, okay,
he, it's not like he's bringing in, it's not a new development. I mean, it's been there forever. And like Lisa said, it was probably at one time in the county. And now it was brought into the city and never, brought onto the city services. And of no fault of his own,
sure, sure.
that this is happening to him. And he could continue on and, until they shut him down, and then he'll shut down his businesses pretty much, because he basically says, I get it, he's got some, and he's not asking for the whole amount, he's just asking for some help.
So how much does he want?
He thought he could cover 5,000. Up front, I mean, I don't know, that's what he's saying, I don't know, I'm just a messenger, but
Mhm. Could we buy his well and his water right for 10 or 15?
I don't know what
I
his
don't know
right
anything
is, but
about that.
I guess we can look it up.
I really don't either. It's just, just on a high level. I mean, so we're really not helping. What would that do? Give him the 15,000 to hook up to the city, and then give the consortium ownership or county or city ownership in that well that we might be able to use for testing. I'd like to see what that well looks like. Is it a deep basalt? Is it an alluvial well?
I'm sure it's probably alluvial, but
Because if it's an alluvial and it could be deepened, it might, and I don't know I don't know the neighborhood, it could be in proximity of one of those focus areas, and we could use it for something else.
I know it wasn't on the ODW list, because I've got that listed where they wanted pull wells out, or they wanted to pull the pumps out and check the casings of all those. I've got all those addresses, and that wasn't on there.
Okay,
I mean, it could be. Very easily, if it's accessible. That's their biggest thing, is getting access. Mostly physical access, not. Yeah. But yeah, it could be one of those that it's in the
or not, I'm really.
congressional direct spending money, maybe is a better option for this. Is that something? Because I know OHA has money from the first congressional spending that said deepening of wells and well construction and those things, and I've asked Gabriella several times about it, and I've gotten nothing, and not even answers back on emails. But I know it's in there. Maybe that's a better idea. There was all kinds of things in there about that. We'll have to
So
go back and
OHA,
You're
read
talking
them.
about SEP money or
No.
CDS dollars?
CDS dollars.
So the CDS dollars, I'm not aware of CDS dollars.
Which one went to OHA?
SEP money.
Okay, it was SEP money then.
Okay.
That might even be a better idea.
That's even better. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I'll look into it. Well, I'll go back and read those SEP things, but I'm sure that that was in there. Okay. I'll.
It's a square peg in a round hole, but it's worthwhile. I'm glad you brought it up, but if there's something other,
And maybe he can just go deeper.
and he just needs money to deepen it. That's not cheap, especially if you need to case it
5,000.
all the way down to the basalt. 100 foot of casing this, wow.
Yes, it is. That's where you have to go to 350 to get it, which is where they're recommending everybody go.
Other people are doing their own private property all the time.
Without asking. for
Yeah.
money. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, thank you, Brandon, and the city of Boardman for accommodating them. Sounds like it's just right there, and if you want to advocate for him to get a little bit more money to push him over, that sounds great.
Okay. Let's move on. Managing director update, and that must be you, Matt.
Yes, I have a couple others. So as far as organizational updates, just wanted to bring the board up to speed on this. We are registered with the Secretary of State. We do have confirmation of that. We do need to go through and get some identification numbers and get those processed so that the CWC can apply for grants on their own as necessary, and we'll be working on that. And get our own mailing address, so that's separate and can be covered separate from the county and such. There is a second paragraph in this. There has been clarification. There was some question about the appointment of myself as managing director, or if it was the county running it. And this said, maybe we need to revisit that. As we've looked through it and reviewed the minutes, that's not the case. It was clearly indicated that while you're appointing me, you're appointing me as county administrator for the county. So that's been wrapped up. The last thing is the bylaws, mentioning that we need to get those wrapped up. I was hoping to get those wrapped up by the end of April. We'll just bump it up a week and get these things to you. I was planning to have that incorporated as part of the budget process, but we'll have a separate Zoom meeting next week. So just as organizational, we're on our way. Appreciate the consideration for the fiscal agent agreement. We'll have that before the BOC tomorrow and get that working for you. So that's organizational. If you're okay with me proceeding with the other discussions, Chair. The second one is we during the push for congressional designated spending, discretionary spending, CWC was approached to give on 2 matters for support letters. We went ahead and signed those without bringing them to the board. One was clearly, our understanding was clearly supportive of the CWC's goals, and that's the support of the Irrigan's feasibility study and test well project. I wrote on that, and then Chair Sykes wrote a one for a project called this one. It's from Madison Farms, and they're looking to take water, dilute it with nitrate rich water, and then take that back to apply on crops. Remember, Kelly Doherty asked me to a question on that as far as process and policy on doing that. We approached these with the idea that they were supportive of the mitigating nitrates. While we're looking at bylaws, if we want support letters to come before the whole board before approving that, I'm happy to incorporate that for future considerations. So just wanted to open that up for discussion or any provided copies of the letters that were provided there, but just to see if the board had any direction for future. Since we're kind of feeling our way and we want to make sure we're established, so.
And full disclosure, it was me and I read it in the minutes of the county meeting and I said, we didn't talk about this at our board meeting and, you know, it would be like one of our board members at the port, you know, saying that this is for the port and I just didn't like that going forward and, you know, that's something that I think that the board should agree on before those letters are written and signed. You know, if you want to sign them individually, you're more than welcome to, you know, with your own Hancock on it, but when it has the board name on it, then
It's really hard to be a staff person and be a board member.
It sure is, yeah, for sure.
Because I do feel like as a staff person, I mean, we're hired to do our jobs and make good decisions and doing this is part of your job. I don't necessarily think you need to come back and ask us every time for, you know, our approval of you doing your job. I guess I was gonna say, it'd be nice to, if you just send us a copy when you do it, but I don't do that with my board either.
But you sign as executive director, not on behalf of the port commission. Correct.
yeah, and that's what was my beef was it said it came from our board and I said, I've never seen this. I didn't have any discussion in it, you know,
That's,
the Madison thing, you know.
yeah, that's fair.
So I think it does, you know, if we're going to support something, it needs to be supported by the board, and not the staff. And that's just, you know.
The tricky part is, I don't chastise Matt for doing it, and I appreciate that he did because the timing, and we're sort of feeling our way. But, would you feel comfortable with moving forward if
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's over in past. It's just something that I just felt like is like, dang, it has, you know, our board name on it. It's like, I don't even know what they just signed something that has my approval as a board member, and I don't know what it is.
So one option that I would propose that, you know, we know that there's a certain window and we also know there's a certain amount of frenetic energy during that time that people think. But one thing that we could do is either, you know, as I said, submit the letters so you know about it the minute we're submitting, or just try to call a board meeting over Zoom, shoot those emails out and allow you to take a look at them. I mean, even with quick action, then they usually give us a day or two to get those ready. So that
Whole
could
day.
qualify for that. And that way we can just allow the board to know and have a quick Zoom call to give a thumbs up if we're writing it on behalf of the.
Well, and those people that are asking for those letters of support shouldn't be asking for them the day before they need them either. That's not fair to our board or to you guys either. To
But
write a letter in a
that's
day
just
and a
the
half.
timing of the way these things work. I mean, just
It
like our
happens-
CES
it
project.
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't seem fair, but it happens.
I mean, is that just because they didn't get their stuff done in time, or, I mean, I know ours was because we just formed this new group, but
Yeah.
so Jake's saying he knew that was coming well in advance and didn't ask until the last minute, and then, you know, wanted that support letter, and I wouldn't have liked it as staff member to say, hey, I need a support letter when you're busy doing other things, and, well, I need it by tomorrow, well,
Yeah,
I'd say
Thank
send me a
you.
draft. That's what I would tell somebody on a short notice, is send me a draft.
and then you would go ahead and make changes and sign it.
anyway, it was just something that I just wanted to bring up as just reading it, I just kind of went, wow,
Mhm,
I didn't know that I agreed with that, or didn't agree with that,
mhm.
mostly because I didn't even know what it was. Anyway, I think it's a good idea
It's
that
a
we do that.
recharge project, right?
Yes,
So in the future, if Matt gets approached or one of us gets approached, we'll either add it to our next agenda or
Or
set
hold
up
a special meeting.
a special meeting, yeah, okay.
So just wanted to bring those up so the board has access to those. The last one is project updates. I don't have a full write-up on those for you, but the listed project updates. And this is where a little bit of the transition is still going on. One of the things that Chair Sykes tells me is he wants to get fully it's CWC projects. It's not county projects and port projects. It's CWC projects when we're really putting this down. However, we're in transition to that. We've got to get the last few things set up, and there's some things that are lingering out. So West Glen project, we've got the feasible technical studies going. We're anticipating, they're currently reaching out, our outreach consultant is reaching out to individuals and having several meetings on that. We're looking for a large community meeting that will start advertising in May and have a meeting in June to bring those in. We have a cost for water distribution system that can be used for either hooking into Boardman, or if it's a local well, local community well kind of provided system. And so we're pulling those those items together in anticipation of bringing them to the community, tell them what the options are. Some of the easier, more individual options, we've had another consultant kind of rule those out. And so we're trying to get all our ducks in the row so we can actually have a real conversation with the community and say, what's your pain tolerance? What are you willing to consider? Is a connection to the Boardman? Is this community system? And our whole goal realistically is to try to make it so there's no infrastructure cost, whether it's through state, federal, whatever fundings is our goal. So the people, if there's that a charge will be the water usage and anything for future maintenance and replacement, not for a bond for the initial hookup and connections. It does include connections to houses, and our pricing is that one gets a little dicey if we have any federal grants in that. They won't pay for that connection, so that might be the PWC's matching portion of that project is to connect them into it, because our funds are a little bit more free flow at this time with the contributions from the port and the county and such. So and other entities. So we're really looking to see what we can do on that. We have submitted on the county side, because this is a project and we don't have CWC set up, a request for a $3 million capital infrastructure project that would help facilitate that. We're looking at every option that'll be on it. I'll be heading down to testify for that if we do get that, and then bringing it out to board if we get traction on that. That would be the infrastructure for community water system in that way. The sewer, we're still working on pricing on that, and hopefully we'll have that, well, not hopefully, we'll have that in place in May sometime to get our outreach consultant with the information on that. Priority is water from this group, but solving septic issues is also there as well. So we're continuing to work on it. Rev, Grace Donovan, that down there, she's great to work with, and she's pulling up. She's actually reached out and working with ORA to a degree on outreach, and so I think we're seeing some good synergies there. Any questions on West Glen?
Ballpark investment.
You know, for the distribution system, if we were to hook up to the city of Boardman, we're looking at about $3.2 million. And that includes connections to each residence. We got that price from our contracted consultant, engineering consultant there. We bounced it off of Boardman's consultant, as well as called Mark on it as well. And we've adjusted prices accordingly. There's a little bit of fluff in there, but if you look at it as a community, the biggest thing is there's not paved roads. That's a big cost. If we can just go right down the roads and dig down and install water lines, we don't have to do asphalt restoration. We will have pricing for if the community wanted to go with asphalt. That would be a consideration. That creates a whole different discussion though. So about 3.2 million is what we're looking
Is that picking up Paul Smith?
Yes, that includes going down to Paul Smith.
Okay.
It's that boundary we looked at for the SCP.
Mhm.
Okay, so.
So
Getting these figures, because they're a heck of a lot different than what GSI was telling us in the county water meetings.
Well, so there, for some reason, the quote, and I think it's just total uncertainties and throwing out a number, the quotes we had, and actually our consultant called us, and said, Meyer Architects, they're like, where is this 350 foot per linear foot? $350 per linear foot come from? He says, are we having to blast every inch? And as we went through and confirmed, I mean, Mark said, you know, for distribution, you're looking at about a 110 per linear foot. So I'm not quite sure where that 350 is. It's not GSI so much. It was the other engineering firm, the something, I can't remember, pulled it off the top of my head, that provided that to the Lackawanna committee. HDR,
No, well, that explains it.
yeah.
Oh,
So then there
really?
was,
Yeah.
so in our county water meetings,
Uh-huh.
GSI had put together, and it was upwards of 26 million.
Just for West Glen?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't remember that. I
So-
trust that you have it right, but wow.
So
Yeah.
that, when you said that, that's shocking.
It, you know, and actually, when I hear $26 million for 100 residents, that's shocking to me. But the disparity between it,
That was just the water, because you guys were only doing water.
so, yeah, so I personally measured out all the streets with the, with Meyer and, we're fairly, in fact, we think there's fluff in it.
Your number makes sense though, because initially we thought it was about $1 million for the pipeline to get to West Glen.
Yeah.
That pipeline.
So this includes a loop that would run up to Main Street, hook up there, and then another one that would go through, and I forget the subdivision, you have Tuscany, and then there's another subdivision that actually has connection down to Coonsey. And so we would have a loop in the system. The one place that wouldn't be looped is the,
That's the other side of the canal.
no, well, that area and the one on, to the west, that road going down,
Tom's Camp or Paul Smith.
Paul Smith.
Okay.
I wanted to say Paul Simon, and a musical.
I like it.
No.
So
So,
that includes like this, because you guys had booster pumps and all those things included in yours.
Yeah, and
We have-
actually Ronan was in on the discussion.
And maybe.
yeah,
and
we
that-
actually pulled in Ronan and had him increase a few things. He talked about the booster pumps.
And the increase in the chlorination for the city and all those things were discussed as well.
I don't think
I don't know, your memory's
increase
way
in
better than mine.
chlorination was, but definitely booster pumps, measuring valves so we can measure from the city. The nice thing is those might not be required if we can do it without CDBG grant funds. If we can just build the system and dedicate it to Boardman, we might not mess with their fee schedule at all. And so we wouldn't need to have these measuring meters that are checking all the and keeping the water usage separate. So there's a lot of thought into it. That was some preliminary numbers for this projection. We're pretty sure on it with the distances we measured. And at $3 million to fix the water issue, it's kind of a no-brainer to me. I mean, we just get it going and get pipe in the ground and let the community, and like I said, that distribution is good for either connecting to the city or connecting to a community well if they're wanted to create their own. So that could be huge. And so we'll be keeping an eye, and like I said, Chair Sykes told me and Tamara, if that comes up for a hearing, we're down in Salem talking directly to support that. So
And that's in a legislative bill.
it's a legislative, I don't have the number of it.
Project request, so
Yes.
it doesn't,
Doesn't have a bill number, does
I
it?
don't think it does.
So it just
It
goes to
will
Ways and
later
Means.
on, but I don't have it yet. And so as soon as we have that, I will send an email out to y'all so you can get track of it.
Would we have to have that project completed or a design phase before you ask for that money, or no?
No,
It would just be
it would be very similar to our circuit board project, where they just say, hey, you got 12.75. And it's like, okay, and let's figure out a project to spend that. or be within that range.
So this pipe that's going out there and, you know the residents now, but is there land around there or something that additional people can hook up to, or someone subdivides their land, or what are all?
So the main line that we're looking at going down Coonsey could be used. It's set to be an 8-inch line. Which, it's not a major distribution line, but it's a healthy one. That would be allowed. The one question is, if we work with Boardman, if they have plans to put a bigger line down there, when we come down there, maybe we horse trade with them and see if they'll pay for the difference of the increase as we get going. So,
And actually, part of the road, the GSI HDR roadmap project will have some preliminary numbers for that sort of thing. But that won't happen until August of 2026. The West Bend project was just something the county prioritized. So the only reason I'm sharing it is there's lots of moving parts, but if it's 3.2 million and we get that chunk, that we can make that happen, yeah.
I'm saying if I'm a homeowner near there, just say I have land, and now I wanna put in 5 houses. I have to go to the city and say, I wanna pay that 21,000 or whatever it is to hook up. It's
Or
that
you
kind of
can
how
drill a
that
well,
works.
Or you control the well.
Okay.
That's
you're not
actually
like-
for
It isn't
certain.
like everybody who has land around there.
So
Getting in.
it's easy to provide water to UGB areas. And, that's very allowed. In fact, we can go outside of UGB for water. We can't go outside for sewer. Sewer could only be within UGB. Boardman already has a user rate for water for in city and out of city. So it's planned. You could, if you can pay for the connection, you can do it.
What is that rate? Do you know, Matt?
Don't have it off the top of my head.
I was just wondering, I was thinking about that the other day, we're gonna hook these people up. I don't know if we're gonna have to shut down their wells, their existing wells. Most of them have 2 acres. You can literally use 15,000 gallons a day on an exempt well and irrigate a half an acre. You can't sell your vegetables. That's the rules on an exempt well. So
Oh, they can't sell their vegetables on?
Nope.
Wow.
you can't
Because
make
it's not
any profit
monitored.
because it's exempt and it would be going against
It'd
the
be
irrigation
considered a
right.
commercial irrigation well.
So I was thinking, I was doing the math to say, geez, if they use their 15,000 gallons, what is that gonna cost them at the city? Because that's what they're getting right now.
So one of the things that we're looking at is,
much.
It's like 80, 90 bucks a month.
No,
Yeah.
my bill's not that big with water, sewer and garbage.
and one of the things that we would require is they disconnect their well from their house. They still wanted to irrigate
That's what
with
I was
it,
wondering.
secondary water. We're very happy with it, but we would have to see that they're disconnected from their well for their residents. If they still want to run their spigots and that for watering their lawn and everything, secondary water is awesome.
So they get the first amount for 7,000. Did they get their first 7,000?
Mhm.
Gallons.
Yeah, at a pro rate, at a digital rate, and then anything over that amount is 69 cents. Is that right, Lisa?
I just paid the bill.
I looked it up. I was just doing the math. I thought it came to about between 60 and 80 bucks a month for them if they wanted to irrigate that half acre. on
It's
city water.
water, sewer and garbage altogether.
But they wouldn't
that
be
rate.
charged that.
No, but the water's 20-30. Probably.
So your water bill is just, you get charged on your water
If you give me.
and
give
then
me a sec, yeah. It's
So-
based on
all the
gallons.
same,
So it's 2520 for the initial 7,000.
right?
And then
Every
it's
something.
67 per thousand, 67 cents per thousand right now.
I would not play.
So that's 25, that's 25 bucks.
Yeah.
$25.
For the extra.
No,
If you're using 15,000.
Mhm.
Yeah, 8 times 67.
$5.
How much
$5.
for the overage?
It's $25.
I don't know what I was figuring, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be looking at $30 for 15,000 gallons a month. If
That's a
Those
lot of
rates.
water for a small plot of land, a half an acre,
And if they're
from
irrigating,
my understanding.
if they're irrigating off their well, they may or may not be using them.
Mhm.
So, if these prices hold true, which we're making sure, and we get those funds, this could be seismic.
Yeah.
For the West Wind area.
Yeah.
And if those kind of things, and we can organize additional funds in the future for other areas that are adjacent to municipal areas. That's incredible what we could do. And then if we're looking at also areas that are not easily attached to municipal systems, going in and seeing what we can do to help the wells, casings or whatnot. So those are kind of some different things that we're.
So the next thing is, did you read 1154? Because if I remember right, maybe that legislation that's coming through, that's probably gonna go through. Because everyone wants it to go through.
Mhm.
If that said that they would mandatorily make you shut your well down.
Oh.
I think we need to really look at that very closely and make our voice heard while it's in rules.
And it's the whole well, no matter if it's for the.
I don't know, Debbie,
Irrigation.
I'm gonna have to go back and reread it. When
Yeah.
I've read it a couple times, but to really go back and read it good. It seemed like they were saying that, they were gonna cut some of the process, you wouldn't have to rezone to get water, blah, 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 blah. Where Boardman is okay, Irrigan's probably not okay because a lot of those aren't in the UBG. So it was going to open up some of that regulation and
It's a House Bill 1154.
Senate bill. But there were some odd, commercial things in there too, but those are not for us to worry about, but, I do think we should, while it's in rules, if we need something in there to cut permits or, drilling a well, asking for, this one time, drilling a community-based well, something like that, I don't know.
I don't know what those issues are. If I'm tracking what you're saying, it would be good to be proactive. But I think a year from now, or sooner before the short session, I think we would be looking at what some of those solutions are. Another concept is to ask for the state to appoint regional rule, do some regional rulemaking for domestic exempt wells in the Guama, which would apply to both counties. So it's like comprehensive planning process that if you go through, involve the landowners, the agencies, if the solution for the long-term fix is to deviate from a rule, then that's the process that it takes to get there. A legislative fix is different. And I actually kind of like that, not just because I do the planning stuff, but you look at all the contributing factors. I mean, individually, the state agencies have said to me, as the co-chair of the roadmap project, don't use those existing regulations as a hard fast rule because this is a public health problem. And if we need to look at deviations from those, we can be creative. That doesn't mean that they're not gonna initially say, here's the.
We just didn't want some rule to come through there and foul our entire process.
Yeah, I didn't even see that, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was kind of like you could cut through the permit process or cut through the land use, so that you could
Mhm.
provide the water and the sewer without having to change and like I say, it's not West Lynn, because they're UBG, but on the other side of Paul Smith, they're not.
They're not, and the south side of the
So
canal.
that's gonna be problematic. So if there's something in that bill that says, hey, we can cut through that red tape
Mhm.
and still leave their zoning alone and still provide them water because it's a health emergency or whatever, then there's something that we need to, as a group, we should really track that. And make our message known.
So I'm looking at some city water bills of mine. And this is water, sewer and garbage, $66 for all three. So water bill.
They probably already get garbage out there. Well, maybe some people probably take theirs to the dump, I guess. I don't know. This county. Mine is, what is mine? $34. My garbage is 34 in the county. Is that right? 34 something. 34.65.
My water, so several of these are $17.33. Sewer's $28.88, garbage $20.
So if we just did water, but if we did sewer. And then their garbage is 30.
But sewer.
Is this? So did your? um,
I mean, it's doable.
Did your $3 million include the $21,000 for each hookup, or are they gonna charge us that?
We did figure in,
I mean, he said, basically said today
oh,
that whatever it was charged, SDC charge is going to happen no matter what, so are we gonna get those charges as well?
That $21,000 was for all 7 units, just so you know.
No, it's for any hookup.
Seven, yeah, 7 units.
Yes.
But it
he's
was a
just
single
charged.
hookup that
Single
would
hookup,
serve 7
single,
units.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
mhm.
Yeah. But it's still 21 for every development, every residence, he said, is paying 21,000. If you put a house in Boardman, it's 21,000, is that correct? That's the way.
It sounds about right, but I don't know for sure.
$21,000 for
An
connection
SDC,
fee?
For water?
Mhm.
for an SDC, maybe.
No way,
Aaron's,
no way.
No, it's
No way.
not. I think that $21,000 is because there's 7.
Yeah.
It's generally more like 3,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and
Because they're all gonna have a connection. The $21,000 is 7 connections. Because they're all they're gonna pay a water bill for all
Some
7.
cities have SDCs that are out there.
mhm. We do anticipate paying for that connection because we want to make it so these that community's on clean water.
well, I think, that slide, and I know it's in a slide, Cameron.
Yeah, Ronan said it was for Westland and the area east of Westland, and it was before we had any information from the city of
Oh.
Boardman. So your memory is right, it was 26 million, so the good news is it's a lot less than that. And that was back of the napkin, looking at.
That
I
was a
mean,
long time ago.
probably a year ago with HDR when.
I think it was one of the last.
That's right, it's HDR, forget it.
Yeah, that's it, yeah, but it
Um,
was part of the county,
Yeah, it was part of the county deal.
not the roadmap
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, it was just our county deal. So what is HDR, Lisa? What's they're just another.
It's a high-end engineering from Portland.
Portland and Boise.
I will tell you that we're negotiating right now to have the additional set payment that the port is making to come to this group.
That's
Funneled
fantastic.
through OHA, which that would be. $500 some $1,000.
$580. Yeah.
That's
So Lisa, what were the conditions on that? Did it just, were the things that we were gonna spend the money on? Just set of the same things that OHA had the first time?
I think we asked specifically for this money will be used in Warren County for safe drinking water and. Otherwise, the money went to OHA.
But what's the scope of that money? What can it be used for? I mean, they had to decide that before they gave it. I mean, right now it's at OHA, right? And OHA,
It's not yet because we haven't paid it. Yeah.
So that's the second SEP, the first
Yeah.
round all went to, that's done.
yeah.
I'm gonna go back and ask for that.
Okay,
Because they
good,
haven't spent it all, so.
okay, great. I know you get invoiced for it pretty regularly, okay. Do
Yeah.
you need anything from county or from this group right now?
I don't think so. I think they're agreeable.
OHA is?
And DEQ,
Definitely.
okay.
I think DEQ was probably more so than
Yeah.
OHA because they had some
Yeah.
pretty big ideas on.
It would be to their benefit to get these improvements made.
Sure, sure.
Stop delivering bottles of water.
Yeah,
So,
that's
So-
great news.
so, hopefully we'll have some good things. The one thing is the funding that's there would become available 27. So there is a delay on that. 2027. But with the SCP money, we can start engineering, we can get everything going, so it's just like hit the ground running, hopefully. There are a few things we need to work out, easements and that with the community, if it, you know, whether it's for Boardman connection or a community system. We'd have to work through those things, and so that gives us a year to work on that and get things in place.
And you're talking about the state,
State money,
which is in some bond in 2027.
Yeah.
They do have the ability to lend the money upfront before the bond is. Yeah. Oh, okay.
we'll be looking into that, and like I said, when it comes up for testimony, we'll be there in person. So, other projects, we have the CDS Phase 2, the second application that we're awarded for $1.32 million. We're looking at several projects that get the application in with the federal environment being as it is. We've been told to get the application in so it doesn't disappear. We're looking at one that would help Irrigan with their test well, and then a certain amount of money to go and help see if we can mitigate or rehab some wells that are not connected, and see if we can't do some test wells there to see if that would work, building off the GSI's studies from Phase 1. We're working on that application right now. That is in the county's name, but how we implement it once we get everything formed will likely go through the CWC, especially the any kind of rehabbing of the wells.
So how quick we gonna get that in?
We are looking, we've got some work on. I'm not sure. We've been working on it for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We're hoping, hopefully another 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll get that in.
Yeah.
We've just actually made a request on through Senator, so the Senator's office about if we can, what kind of leeway we have with EPA and that, and she's getting back to us on that. So, and particularly with the rehab of the wells, because generally they don't like money to go to private entities, but if we can say this is a you know, a test well and kind of things, and do several of them, that's more acceptable.
You don't need a lot of information for those.
Well,
I'm
so,
just encouraging you.
so
to
the
get it in
CDS has
because-
been approved. This is the application to access those funds, just like we did for CDS.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
talking new CDS.
So the new CDS, we have applied,
That's
that's
okay.
CDS 3.
Okay.
CDS 2
All right.
is
I'm
making
good
sure we have
Yeah.
money that's there.
Okay,
Uh,
because those were due like in February.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got that money.
thank you.
Yeah.
And CDS 3 was submitted via the Morrow County. It's to help explore, and actually that one was exploring different connections to municipal options there. Unfortunately, with the current fiscal climate, we might not have any CDS ones this year.
Jessica from Senator Markowitz office said that what we're calling our CDS 2 is 23-24 money. Should be fairly safe, but get that application in, so we bumped it up. We were kind of waiting for the roadmap project to move a little bit further along. We hadn't, and I know Matt and Nick Jacoty have been talking to Aaron about a project we could do to partner with him, so.
Mhm.
Cause, and we really had that in mind, since the first CBS project was the study, and in hindsight, we would have framed that differently. And the next one was, let's do some nuts and bolts, and we'd really like to bring something to Irrigan, but they're working with Aaron. I don't know how that's going.
Currently, because those CDS 2 and CDS 3 are under the auspices of the county, we're kind of working with our consultants under the county items. One of the things that I would like planning to do is putting out RFPs for an engineer and grant writer, just so we can be transparent and put those out. And hopefully those will be going out in May, get that wrapped up. So as we start spending some of our own money, we've got those dedicated. And whether they line up with the same engineers and that, we'll have to see. We'll likely pull in a couple board members or advisory members to be on any kind of RFP review board. So that's what we're doing right now. And over the next week, I'll be working on bylaws for you.
Thank you.
So,
So when we hired the grant writer that we hired before, did we just hire him for that one project to write that?
Just to help with the CDS piece.
So he's not on staff?
It's not long-term, we
Just-
kind of just get this done,
Okay,
and so we did.
I think remember if we
We ended up-
gave him, I can't even remember, but we did decide. Advisor. We just said do it.
Who's good at this job?
Mhm.
And he's interested in continuing with, under the CWC, so.
He did send me a text and said.
No.
Senator Merkley's office didn't like that idea we pitched.
Oh, no,
Maybe it's because I chimed in, I don't know, but better to know now than putting all that effort into it.
okay,
Which was to use some existing wells to explore, which was, Henry Grego's had that idea. A couple of years ago when we were talking about SCP. No, it needs to be public.
so we shift and we get an application a little bit different, so that's one of the things, we want to put in good applications,
Yeah.
so that we get thrown out back in.
Last time when we took the, how much did we have, 1.3? Yeah.
1.7.
1.7. It took a year to get through that whole application process with EPA. Because it kept coming back and forth. It was painful. And we had PSI. helping.
We set on for 2 years or two.
Oh, I'm sorry. It, yeah, this one I'm hoping it's not really strictly a research grant, so it's in a little bit different category, but it's. Yeah, I'm glad we have Nick on board, because I don't have the bandwidth to work on it, nor the technical aptitude to describe what the project is. That's really needs an engineer. Or Kelly. Not me.
So that's my report, Chair.
Nice.
Budget please. Anybody else? Anything else? All right, public comment. Do we have any public comment at all? Besides Eric? Before. Aaron, Brenda? Justin? What else? Any public comment? One once,
Good.
one twice.
Oh,
Wait.
Says no way.
He's just waiting.
oh, okay.
Thank you for sticking with us, Erin.
Yeah. Well, with nothing else on the agenda, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 4:35. Justin.
We use it.